another video, number 2600.
You're the OG of videos, but all right, let me do the intro. You threw me off because I'm like a guest in my own show. Anyway, so welcome everybody to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast. My guest today is Patrick Carney, aka Chief Pat. Now, most of you know Chief Pat because most of our audience is like very much into mobile gaming and mobile games business, but a little bit more. He's not just your average influencer. He's a founder and CEO of Tribe Gaming, an esports and influencer company for mobile games. Pat himself has 2.5 million subscribers, over 650 million views on YouTube lifetime. Like, man, that's a lot of views. And
what an intro. You're gassing me up.
No. Let me talk about Tribe. Like, you think you got everything with just Pat's number? Let's go Tribe. So, over 20 creators. You got six esports teams, 32 million collective followers, over 100 million monthly views on YouTube, partnering with the likes of Ford. Shout out to Ford. I also have a Ford. We were just talking about your Mac E. I don't have a Mac E. I have the Escort, what you have in the US, or Cuba here. Anyways, enough about my car. Investors like San Antonio Spurs, Christian Segerstrolle, founder of Glue, founder of Playfish, founder of Super Evil Megacorp. He's an investor in your company. Like, I could just go on and on in the list, but you have a bit of a media empire. Are you a media mogul, Pat?
I need you to do the intros to my YouTube videos. This is great. I love this. I'm just some idiot who decided to download Clash of Clans one day back in 2012. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're just taking life where it goes, but having a lot of fun.
I saw you first time in 2013 at Supercell's office in San Francisco. It wasn't like even it was Supercell's like co-working space.
Yes.
And you were in the corner, you had like your tower computer. I was like, who's this guy? And they're like, he's like a YouTube guy. They're like, does he work for the company? I was like, nope, but he just likes to play Clash of Clans. I was like, all right, what's up, dude?
It was that was my first trip ever, actually, like visiting San Francisco. I remember I had 2 queen beds in my hotel room, and I thought I was the biggest baller of all time. I was like, not 1, 2 beds. The Westin, I mean, this is awesome. Good times.
Yes, so that's where I saw you. You look no different than then.
A little bit less hair, but yeah.
Yeah, well, with the media mogul like yourself, hair is, it's just a question. You can always buy more hair. I was just in Istanbul. Let me tell you, hair is not an issue these days. So
I'm tempted. I might have to take like a 6-month sabbatical from content where my audience wonders where I'm going or why I'm wearing a beanie in every episode, but we'll figure it out.
I think it's a piece of content. First of all, it's a nice journey, a story. Like, you're not as confident as you could be. There's the hair thing. It's like you just need to do it for yourself. You can be real with your audience of 2.5 million subscribers. Like half of Finland is following.
There we go. I get it sponsored. I'll get a hair plug doctor in Turkey to sponsor it. We'll make it a whole content series. I'm down. Yeah, let's go in together.
You could do that. Also, it's not that expensive, just to be clear. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll do it with you. You know what? I'll do it with you. My channel has like 650 subscribers. So I think if we bundle up that together, we're kind of even.
Love it.
I'm less about looks and more about the voice. Anyways, okay. So, let's talk your business because this is all about business. I want to hear how you got started almost 10 years ago. Like, what led you to this journey of becoming an influencer media mogul?
Okay. So for me, it all started in 2012. So I actually just transferred into my dream school at the time. I was at University of Virginia. I thought I had life figured out, studying finance, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, as I studied for an accounting exam, I, like everyone else who studied accounting, like really didn't want to do it. So I looked in the App Store by chance and was like, what games have released recently that are interesting that I can use to distract my mind from managerial accounting? And this new game popped up in the App Store called Clash of Clans. Like, I looked in the strategy section, I saw this game, I saw some barbarian yelling at me. I said, okay, I'm going to download this and see what this game is all about. And literally within 15 minutes of playing the game, I was like, okay, this game actually is so good. I texted all my friends. I was like, everyone join in. Let's all play together. And after playing for a couple of days, I went online to like look up guides. I mean, I only use YouTube for like cat videos, which by the way, if you guys are on YouTube, we've got a, what's a chief pat without a chief cat? She's hanging out next to me in a cat bed on camera right here. But but yeah, YouTube at the time for me was literally just, cat videos and memes. And when I tried to look up guides in Clash of Clans, I didn't see anything. So I thought, okay, I've never made a video before. I have no idea what I'm doing. I actually had to go to my laundry room in my dorm to film because that was the only place with strong enough Wi-Fi. But I started filming videos and I would actually do the voiceovers in my car. So it was a struggle in the beginning for sure. But I just started posting and, I remember going from like, I had hit 10 subscribers and I was like asking all my friends. I was asking my mom. I was like, please stop botting accounts. I hit like 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. And soon enough, I ended up, by the time I finished up my sophomore year of school, I hit 100,000 subscribers and it was like actually, making money. I remember the beginning, like I had no aspirations of being a YouTuber. I started making $10 a day and I sat down with my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm going to get my big boy job after college. I'm making $10 a day. I'm getting Chipotle every day for free from this channel. Like I measured my life in Chipotle meals at the time. and obviously it grew to so much more than that. So, my channel had grown and I was heading into my junior year of school. And I moved in all my stuff. I was really struggling trying to balance YouTube, which was way more exciting, and, managerial accounting. And I literally moved in and I remember 2 days after moving in, and I don't even know, can we swear on your podcast? I don't know. We can put it out. But moved in. Nice. We moved in. I remember looking like in the mirror in my crappy apartment. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I can play video games for a living. And why am I doing this? I moved all my stuff out after moving in. I broke my lease. I went back and I went in full time. And yeah, definitely parents, super supportive. Like my mom is, she had a jewelry business. My dad is like always been super gung ho about this stuff. But yeah, I dove fully in, and that was how it all got started.
Your parents were okay with you, so you stopped school. Or did you finish your education?
No. I am your I am your friendly dropout who dropped out to play video games. Yeah, I did 2 years. I left, but they were super supportive. Like at the time, I built my channel up to a point to where, I started making serious money, and there was opportunities such as traveling to, the event we went to in San Francisco, or, going to Helsinki, which probably at the time I thought was in Southeast Asia. I had no clue. There was all these opportunities coming up, and I couldn't do it.
I hope you didn't pack for Southeast Asia when you came to Helsinki.
No, absolutely not. That was March, the first time I visited. But
shit.
I found myself in all my classes literally just refreshing my YouTube page and thinking of ideas. And I was like, there's no way I can give 60% to both of these. So I went full in on YouTube, and definitely an excellent choice.
So you learned like video editing, everything yourself, and you learned that off the YouTube, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, even at the time, guides back then were so when I started making content around mobile games, no one was really making content around mobile games. Even like to that point, Clash of Clans was this game that had this like natural YouTube value where people wanted to watch this online. And to date, I think maybe the biggest channel had been posting 10-second Angry Birds guides that didn't even have a voiceover. So this was that first core strategy game that broke through on YouTube. So when it came to recording this, like I remember I was using, a lot of people were using a phone to record another phone. I found some software maybe called like Air Carrot. I forget what it was. I probably got a virus from it. I don't know. But I found that, and I somehow rigged it in our laundry room, and I would film at like midnight in my dorm. And I got it to work and just sort of figured it out. And if you look at my first videos, I'm literally like breathing into the microphone. Like I drop one troop to be super efficient. And then it's just like me, I'm not going to breathe into the microphone on your podcast, but it's like, it's bad. It was definitely a work in progress, but it went from something that my, friends definitely made fun of me for because, they're like, wait, what the heck? You're posting mobile games on YouTube? To where like, this is super cool. Pat has like 50 subscribers. This is awesome. So it was a fun journey.
And so 5 years ago, so that was 10 years ago. And then you're 5 years in, you're Chief Pat. Everybody knows you. You have a great relationship with Supercell. Did you have also relationships with other game publishers?
Yes.
Or like, how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So like the 5 years, so first 5 years on YouTube, I was able to grow my channel, really saw mobile, even though, I mean, still at the time, it was pretty behind the scenes, which was hard to believe because the viewership was honestly there on YouTube from the jump, but it was still pretty, behind the scenes. So fast forward to 2017 for me, I, as one of like, I guess you can call it the OGs of like mobile gaming content creation, I had a chance to see all of the other content creators start to grow and build their channels. Oh, well, you say that, not me. Right place, right time. But so I saw all these other channels start to grow, and like for them, the creators would reach out to me for advice. Even my co-founder of Tribe, John, the first time we talked was he was translating one of my videos to German at the time. So, I had built all these amazing relationships with creators, helped them monetize their channels, build their brands. I had worked with tons of different game developers at that point, whether with Supercell, Tencent, many others who, you guys all know in the mobile gaming space. And for me, as all of this started happening, and for me, naturally, like one, I was a huge fan of doing collaborative content. I found myself more and more doing videos that involved other creators. And second, I started getting involved in esports and enjoying esports. I actually went to my first esports event when I was visiting Supercell in 2015. They were actually showing me Clash Royale for the very first time. And we went to Berlin to see the League of Legends World Championships. And it was this moment where it clicked for me where, hey, like I want to combine all of this stuff together, like where I am in mobile gaming, my relationships, my passion for content, working with others and esports and do it within, I want to do something with this. And even like at that point, actually, I talked to a team from the LCS and League of Legends, their official league, about buying a spot before realizing that like no one cared who I was in League of Legends. I was just some Clash of Clans guys. So I ended up waiting a little bit. And eventually in 2017, when Super Evil Megacorp started their esports league, they had reached out to me about the opportunity, and it like all made sense that this was the right time to let it rip. So I sort of didn't know what I didn't know back then. Like I was just, just a kid like saying, hey, let's do this. This seems really cool. And definitely it's been a fun transition for me going from like a one person team with my YouTube channel to where now, working with Tribe and all the amazing creator staff and players we work with. It's been quite a journey.
So, okay, I have so many questions. By the way, I remember I've been to multiple Super Evil Megacorps, Vainglory esports events. My wife used to run those, and she says hi. Course. Anyways, so through that, I'm quite familiar with esports. But I wanted to kind of go back to your life as an influencer. How did it evolve going from the college days as you're recording in your laundry room to like you're scaling it, like you're Chief Pat? Like what would your day look like, and how does the team size grow? Like, because I listened to the podcast with Mr. Beast on Joe Rogan, and he's like 120 people, different languages. Like that's at the ultimate scale. Like what was your scale up as you were chief padding and growing as a media mogul?
Yeah, great question. So like when I started back in 2012, it was unheard of that people had like actual teams around their YouTube channel. I remember when I started, I didn't even do thumbnails in my video. It was, hey, I'm just your normal Joe, one sock on at a time. Let's play some Clash of Clans, have some fun. And people happen to enjoy my content. So it graduated from that to where now today, if you're a creator and you're not building a team around you, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So, for myself, I have a team of somewhere between like 3 and 5, some of the resources I share within Tribe, because we have a team that works with our talent. But, whether it is video editors, graphic designers, thumbnail designers, even like ideation people to help us create content for our channel. Every creator now is starting to build out their team. And then outside of people, like just part of your full-time team, being able to find other people who can sort of fill in the gaps for your business is super important. So whether it's someone who can help you monetize your channel via brand deals, you don't want to be the one, reading legal agreements and licensing clauses and all of that. You want to find someone who can help there. Maybe it's for, a PR. There's all these different areas where you want to find people to plug into your channel. And really the number one thing that's irreplaceable when it comes to being a creator is in my mind, video ideation. Like everything else we found success outsourcing, whether editing, graphic design, whatever else. But the number one thing that's the toughest thing to replicate, even for me, like as I've done this, or even with Tribe creators as we help them, is, the best creators are the ones with the best ideas. It's as simple as that. Finding someone who just so naturally understands your audience and knows how to make viral content and really can retain an audience and that watch time, and is obsessed with that to the level of Mr. Beast. If you've heard him talk about that, those are the people that, end up winning. And that's really why you see a lot of people, sometimes people will start as content ideators for other YouTubers and their ideas are so good, they start their own channel and then they blow up. Someone like, Wasim, for example, in Brawl Stars, he started as a, editor for one of our creators, Lex's channel. And now, he started his own channel and he's arguably the hottest creator in all of, mobile right now. So yeah, but it definitely varies. And I definitely have an interesting experience being a creator plus, founder and CEO of Tribe. But for a lot of creators, the day in the life, it can get, it definitely is case by case.
How do you, so when you're scaling up and like you used to be a business major, so let's approach it from that perspective. Like,
hey,
you
I'm
have
a
your
failed
incomes.
business major, but yeah.
Well, it's still you understand the financial part. So
sure.
Because most of the creators, actually, I don't know if it's nowadays, but I assume the creators don't have a capital to start with. So essentially you start from the bottom and you have to do everything yourself and you're slowly outsourcing certain things like, okay, video editing, that takes a lot of time. There's a contractor I can give this, there's this, there's that. And when like, do you plug in these people as your channel grows and you're making more revenue? Or do you just do like a early investment with the assumption that your channel will grow and you do that, initial investment, you're kind of on the red and you slowly start getting on the green? Like, I'm interested in the business case of these.
Yeah, I'd say most typically I would never advise someone to like invest way too much upfront to their channel thinking that, that they're going to be a creator. I mean, if you look at it right now, I know there was a recent survey, maybe sometime last year, they surveyed, they did a survey both in China and the United States and asked kids, like, what do they want to be when they grow up? And in China, the number one response was an astronaut. And in the US, the number one response was a YouTuber. So, hey guys, we're doing something right over here. Anyway, so it's competitive
or not.
Yeah, it's competitive to say the least. So definitely wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. More traditionally, what you'll see is as people find success and they're finally earning through their channel, in my eyes, reinvesting that success, if you're able to financially, maybe if you have a full-time job and YouTube is something that you're doing or content is something you're doing on the side, being able to reinvest those earnings into your team as soon as possible. I've never regretted, expanding my team too soon. It's always too late when it comes to that. And every creator I talk to is the same way. So if it's feasible as you grow and as you start making revenue to reinvest it, I definitely recommend that. The other, there are some other ways you can do it. For example, there's starting to be some funds where people are actually investing in creators in return for like basically equity in their businesses and long-term earning potential. So if you're able to prove that you have, you have potential as a creator, there's certainly people that are willing to give out money in that case. And then even for us at Tribe, like one thing we do is we almost act as a talent incubator for some of our creators. So take, for example, B-Rad and Nat. So B-Rad was one of our Clash Royale professional players who didn't have a YouTube channel when he started and joined Tribe Gaming. And, we, as he was winding down his competitive career, was like, hey, we're going to give you some resources. We're going to give you some promotion. Obviously, like this is 95% going to come from you, but we want to try to boost you up with our audience, with our mobile fan base, and give you that jump start when it comes to creating your channel. Now B-Rad is doing millions and millions and millions. He's got a bigger channel than me now, what the heck, man. So, he's absolutely crushing it. And same with Nat, where actually for Nat, she was a really prolific streamer. She had an amazing presence on other social media channels, but we actually provided her a team as far as like an editor and a designer went, and even helped her from the start with concepting ideas. And, for that first month or two, started learning and being able to do more with her channel to where now she's been able to take that over and steer it. And she's now, one of, if not the biggest female creators in all of mobile, and is doing an amazing job. So there's a lot of paths to get there, but for most every creator, it's going to come down to, investing in your team as soon as it's financially feasible. But I definitely don't recommend, taking a gap year from college, dropping 10 grand on a Twitch setup and thinking that you're going to hit it big. That's tough.
Yeah, that's interesting. And, about your day, so we're gonna go into Tribe Games after this one, but I'm just curious, like, or just overall as an influencer, like how much pressure does an influencer have to keep on producing content? Because it's a treadmill that never ends. With the algorithms,
totally.
with the way you have to do it, it's like as soon as you release a video, you're probably thinking about the next one. And how many videos do you release a week? Like, what's the amount? 2, 3?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I varied in the past from like 2 to 7 videos per week, I would say. And, it varies per creator. I don't even know if quantity, like you've been solving for quantity, that stress is still there. And honestly, I mean, you're a founder. I mean, you have like, I don't know how many, 20 companies. No, I mean, you're doing a lot. And like for me, even going from being a creator to being a founder, that same thing still exists where you're always on. You're always thinking about something. When you're a YouTuber, you post your video, you're instantly thinking about what's your next idea. What should I be doing with my channel? It's almost always like hanging over your head in a sense. And I think that's why a lot of creators, and I'm sure founders, burn out, because it's hard to like turn off that voice where you're always thinking about your business, refreshing your page, thinking about what's next. And that's on the YouTube side of things. And then on the Twitch side of things, for example, with streamers, there's a saying that for some of these streamers, if you're streaming for, 6 hours a day, if you're streaming 6 hours a day, you're losing followers. If you're streaming 8 hours a day, you're maintaining. If you're streaming 10 hours a day, you're growing. That for me, I can't fathom that. Like being on camera that long every day. That's why I'm a YouTuber. And, I have a major respect for some of these Twitch grinders where maybe, the post-production and some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes is seriously reduced, but being on camera for that long, not everyone has a great day, and people are, gritting through it when it comes to chatting with their audience, even on YouTube, but trying to do that for 10 hours, when someone hit your car in the morning or something else. Yeah, I have to salute those people, because it goes from, playing games is really fun to this is a job potentially really quick if that's the case.
Well, talk to me a little bit about like the Twitch, and what was the Microsoft thing? Was it Mixer, or what was it called? Like,
oh yeah,
and then Facebook jumped on it. So the platforms have been evolving, but you always been just on YouTube, like YouTube ride or die? You got the golden, like, what's the platinum YouTube letter on the back, and like,
yeah,
you're not looking on other platforms. You're just YouTube, or were there moments where you're like, Ninja is going to Mixer and they're paying him like insane amount of money? It's like, what's up? Or like what's
the strategy varies drastically. So depending on like what platform you're playing, it's different on mobile, it's different on PC, it's different on console, it's different on the games you play. So there's not a one size fits all, but I would say like for myself and even for Tribe, like as we work with English speaking creators, mobile by far and away has dominated when it comes to YouTube. YouTube by far and away makes up for, I would say, at probably 90 to 95% of the watch time for mobile games in like English speaking markets. That's where, most everyone has become accustomed to watching content, even watching streams. YouTube tends to be much more popular than Twitch and other platforms. So if you're looking to be a mobile gaming creator, YouTube is the platform to be. And even more broadly, Twitch gets a lot of the headlines as far as streaming goes and their potential market share. But when it comes to watch time between platforms, I mean, YouTube just laps everyone a million times when it comes to their audience. And obviously you want to go where as a creator, you want to go to a platform where you can achieve that biggest, the biggest audience possible. And that's been YouTube. So certainly other platforms have come in, Mixer, even in mobile, like Camcord and Mob Crush and some of these other groups who are looking to build mobile specific platforms. Yeah. Like they've come and gone. But the reality is that for creators, number one, you want to reach the widest audience possible. And number two, trying to port your audience to another platform is just so risky unless you know that platform can be around forever and that it provides value to you. Investing your time into something like that versus just reinvesting in your time into what already works through YouTube and elsewhere. Just personally, I haven't seen another platform, at least for English speaking mobile creators, be able to be something that's sustainable without offering creators like, massive deals such as a Ninja to stay on the platform. But it does vary with other regions, with Brazil and China. Yeah. Like it definitely varies. And even streaming is more popular in those regions versus in, English speaking markets. But yeah.
No, I definitely prefer more YouTube. I couldn't ever get into Twitch. It's just like, it's not like, I like Instagram because somebody takes 1,500 photos and then posts the best one. The same way I want my video. It's like, I don't need to see your 8-hour stream. I need 30 minutes of super edited, the best shots ever.
Keep the dopamine coming, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Make it perfect. And please suggest the next one as well. And by the way, you mentioned Camcord and Mob Crush. I remember when they launched, and I was like, this is born dead because of like the one simple thing is like when you're streaming and you're having your phone, like the phone will be filming your chin. Like who wants to watch your chin while you're playing? Like they never solved against that. They were like, no, it's accessibility. It's like, I don't want to see your chin, dude. Like, no. Or, that's it. So both of them have
even
the same
Google,
mistakes.
like when Google was rolling out their recording feature on mobile, when we were doing feedbacking with them, it was like, listen, this is a great tool for someone who's getting into creation, maybe someone who it's the first time they've ever made a video. This would be a great place to do this. But once you get like to a certain scale, which is pretty soon, you're going to want a dedicated setup to be able to produce content from. And then, it's like, well, you can attach like Bluetooth headphones or a Bluetooth microphone. I'm like, this is just way more convoluted than just having a good old fashioned computer. So
yeah. I do like the YouTube stories, like the quick ones. They're nice
for sure
for certain content. But yes. All right, let's move on to Tribe Gaming. So you're 5 years in. You started off as a college dropout. Now you've grown your platform. You're Chief Pat. You got all these partnerships. You're flying. You're staying. You have hotel rooms with 2 fucking beds. You can just switch between in the middle of the night. You're going to Southeast Asia, Helsinki, so what led you? And then you're starting Tribe because you're a fan of esports. You went to League of Legends championship. And you're like, fucking dope, like a filled arena, the sounds, the people, like it's legit. And then comes along a mobile MOBA with esports events that says we want to do big things. You're starting Tribe as a first esports team for mobile games. Am I correct? And let's start with that point.
100%. Yes. So that was the vision, like seeing all this awesome opportunity in mobile, knowing all these creators, knowing all these developers, SCMC launching their esports program with Vainglory. It all just made sense. So, I would say like the evolution over the last 5 years has been insane. But one of the biggest things, first just breaking down like really easily what we do from like a front facing perspective. 3 major areas of our business. One is going to be just like our media in general. I guess maybe even better to start with the creators. Like with our content creators, we have 21 creators who collectively average over 100 million views a month around mobile games. So with these creators, they represent Tribe. They appear on our channels. We're able to, work with these creators to produce custom content. And even for us as a gaming collective, actually this year in January, we were the most viewed gaming organization on YouTube as far as monthly viewership, period, in English speaking markets. So bigger than PC and console related organizations. The scale of mobile is massive. And we know that collectively, especially with mobile sometimes being more under the radar, by pooling together our creators and creating this, this collective, we're, it turns into something pretty amazing. So that's one side of the business with creators. Second is going to be being a media brand. So if you look at the Tribe content on our owned and operated channels, we're able to reach hundreds of thousands of views per video and be able to leverage that to not only partner with developers, which I'm sure we'll talk more about, but also partner with brands like Ford and the lovely Tribe Mobile, which you guys can see on my Twitter if you want to check it out.
Can I add the link to the... okay, there's a link in the description to the Tribe Mobile. As I told Pat, like this would have been dope if I was 15.
Come on, come on, man! You got to know your target. You got to know your target audience. You got a different audience.
Come on. 15. Anyways,
hopefully no one follows me on one day. Is it obvious that it's a Tribe car? Anyways, and then third is our esports teams. So we have 6 teams. Last year, had an awesome year. Actually, our Call of Duty mobile team won a world championship. And this is like a lot of what we do on the front-facing side of things. And I think especially in like 2017, 2018, we were really focused on building the Tribe brand, building Tribe as a consumer media brand, and bringing together all these amazing things. I'd say like what's recently changed, especially over the last 2 years, is a lot of what we do on the back end. We don't really like advertise this as much because like we are a gaming organization and this media brand, but a lot of what we do are these publisher partnerships where we work with Tencent, Supercell, Activision, whoever else around all these different elements of their game on the back end of things. I mean, it could be influencer marketing, creator programs, white label content production, esports. When people are going to launch mobile games and they want to reach like the online mobile gaming content community, because we have, because we're the leaders and we have a majority of the top creators and we have like Tribe as this leading consumer media brand, a lot of developers look to us to launch their games as well as help retain their player base and retain their creators, given like our background and our experience. I guess the easiest way to look at it is if you think about Apex Legends when it launched at the time. I think it was the most successful game launch ever. They did like, I think in 30 days, like maybe 50 million players, ended up being a smashing success like when it came out. And the only marketing they did off the jump for that game in the first 48 hours was they paid a bunch of Twitch streamers a fat bag of cash, and they said, stream our game and play it. That was it. And the game blew up, and at the time was the biggest launch of its time as far as like player bases went. Well, when you look at the mobile gaming landscape, when they did that activation, they went to a bunch of random Twitch streamers. But like for us, what's super unique is that we work with the vast majority of the largest mobile gaming creators, and we can actually pull that off not only, you know, with those creators, but create a broader narrative and story with Tribe to where, you know, we can basically in-house something like that with Apex Legends Mobile and go far above that when it comes to like creative and to make your game splash in the biggest and best way possible. So that's a lot more of what we've been doing, and really like where we're trying to hire up as much as possible is that there's a ton of demand for us to be able to work with, you know, some of these devs and publishers with their games. But yeah, I'm trying to retain as much hair as I can possible. So I gotta hire some people.
Or just go to Turkey. But yeah, so actually talking about those launch strategies, Supercell has been amazing with those. Like when they really kick it off with influencers, I think, you know, Brawl
they
Stars
launched
was
Clash
a great
Royale
example.
on my YouTube channel. That was how they launched the game, was a video on my channel.
Boom. Exactly. And then a bunch of influencers. So your YouTube feed is filled up. And most importantly, it's just not ads. It's like you're seeing players play it, and the influencers are giving a preview, and you get that first wave of early adopters, and they're going to get in, and the early adopters are watching the videos of influencers. So it's an amazing strategy. And yeah, I definitely get it. I got a bunch of questions that came up for someone. Okay. I'm going to ask the stupidest one.
Okay.
Off the bat that I've been dying to ask. Why is the Tribe logo has 2 axes? It's kind of like very aggressive.
What should we do? Should we do some rubber duckies?
No, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's very aggressive. Just say,
okay,
because you're not an aggressive guy. Like,
I'm a right brand guy. I wouldn't call myself a creative, so I'll run the feedback to our creative team. And
no. I'm just thinking about like you're very like you're mainstream nowadays. Like you are a mainstream, your biggest influencer platform. You got a bunch of all different kinds of streamers from the quintessential white guy, aka Chief Pat, to literally every look and feel. Like you cover all the demos. So, anyways, I was just I'm not dogging on your brand. It's not like I have a great brand either. Like I paid $200 to a guy in Pakistan to design it. So don't ask me. But and there's nothing wrong with the guy in Pakistan. He did an excellent job.
Agreed.
I'm not the most creative. Anyways,
agreed.
What's the business model when you're doing this consultation with these game companies? Like how do you work with the Activisions or the EAs of the world as they are bringing, let's say, the Call of Duties or the Apex Legends or the Clash Royales or the Brawl Stars of the world? How long are the projects? Do you get paid for that early part? How do you build your team around it? Like how can you walk me through those type of, because that's really the meat of this discussion for most of the listeners.
Yeah, totally. So the answer is, number one, that it varies drastically depending on the game, the type of game. Does this game have quote unquote YouTube value? Is this maybe a more casual game that wouldn't be spectated on YouTube? It all depends on what the publisher and developer like really needs. Some examples of like what we do, super common, is like basically like playtesting and R&D with our talent. So obviously when, for a lot of developers, when they're making their games, they want them to be creator friendly and have like features that entice creators to stick around and to create content around them. And, super uniquely for us, we happen to have a lot of the top mobile creators. So being able to set up play sessions with different games, have our creators play them for a few hours, hop on with the developers, tell them what they like, what they didn't like, what they would add in to make the game more creator friendly, et cetera, is usually like one of the starting points if we're starting to work with people early on. And definitely like the earlier the better, especially, I mean, we can talk more about like influencer marketing campaigns, but getting a creator bought in early on and being able to bring them into the project and make them feel like they're a part of it is something that I've always enjoyed as well. I know other creators have as well, but that's definitely one of the first ways we tend to work with people if we're at the very beginning of a project. Then when it comes to like launch strategy, so, launching your game with a bang, whether it's influencer marketing promotion, whether it's even like, white label events, we'll produce white label content that certain developers and publishers actually post to their channels as their own content. They might not have a production team or a team that can pull off some sort of event involving 20 creators. But for us, we have an in-house team that can produce that around their brand and their vision and bring that to life for them to post. So, I think one thing that we sort of talked a little bit about as well, when it comes to like not only influencer marketing and doing your standard dedicated videos or integrated videos, obviously that's important and there's value there. But what we really like to do is come up with more creative custom campaigns that go past like a hashtag ad. So if you think of, for example, we did a campaign with, that's actually timely since you were talking about our logo, with Knight's Edge. So Knight's Edge from Lightfox Games, we did a campaign where all of a sudden on our social media for 24 hours, the axes in our logo went missing. It was just a shield. And everyone was like, what the heck? Where are the tribe axes? What's going on? We did a fun skit leading up to it. And the next day we revealed that the axes were actually in game with one of the final bosses of the earliest levels. And if you took down the boss, you would actually end up winning like custom tribe armor and you would save our axes. And we created a set of custom maps within the game by our creators that had their own, memes and special things inside of them. So for me, the big meme is that I miss rockets in Clash Royale. So there was like rockets flying all over the map. I should have done something with my hairline, but that would have been too technically capable. OJ, for example, one of our biggest creators, he like had all of these different like orange lava on his map. It was this really integrated campaign that went outside of just the scope of 1 hour transactional influencer marketing to where it was a longer term creative campaign. And, I think for us, from what we've seen, that tends to be the most successful. So that's certainly, something that we do. White label esports production. If people are looking to run an esports league for their game, that's something we're able to take care of. And even just like general like consultation and strategy when it comes to what should a content strategy be on our owned and operated channels. Like, hey, I'm launching an FPS game in mobile. Like, what's have you seen from competitors in the space? Like, what should our launch strategy look like? Or how do we build creator retention tools and programs to where, if we start working with some of these creators and we have these lifeblood creators who start posting around our game, how do we keep them to where when a new game comes out that they don't just hop ship and leave us? And like, how do we reward them? And these are things like super unique for us that like myself as a creator, I've had experience with, as well as our team, to where, when you think about, just like a general, like whether it's like a talent agency or a creative agency or one of these shops, like we just have super unique insights because it's like all we've done over the last decade. And I think that's what a lot of, I think that's why like a lot of devs and publishers like working with us, is because like we're actually like mobile gamers play these games, and heck, it might be a game that we like sign an esports team for, who knows? Like we like to be super involved in these communities.
So you do a lot of custom work, and custom work requires more time because it's not like, the normal package deal. How big is your organization to allow you to do these custom projects?
Yeah, for sure. So for the biggest campaigns, those tend to be more custom, but we do have like more entry level stuff as far as like dedicated content goes, or certain pieces. So it varies. Right now for us, as far as staff goes, so we have 20, somewhere around like, let's say 25 full-time employees. I would say we have a number of contractors that work with us, especially on like the GFX design side of thing. We have around 40 players when it comes to esports and 20 creators. I'd say we're just over 100 right now. And really our biggest focus now is being able to scale up on really like the sales and execution side of things. We're just seeing there's a lot of people who are super interested in a lot of the stuff that we do, but it's we gotta clone ourselves a little bit and be able to scale up our staff. It's a lot of fun making content and doing all these projects and creating videos, but we really need to build out our team who can sort of manage a lot of these relationships. And that's what like our biggest focus has been on the first half of this year. So it's going well.
Yeah. So basically like project managers, because I assume that you have a lot of different types of content creators that first of all have to be on the treadmill of creating content, and they have the teams around who are helping them to create this content. And then a deal comes through like, okay, Activision is coming from Warzone for mobile. Like, we need to get on this, and then we need to be early on, like 6 months before it launches. We need to start, thinking about different type of strategies. And now the project managers have to essentially kick off with ideation, then start thinking about what kind of a team, what kind of creators are going to come in, when do they have to come in, when are the videos going to be done?
Absolutely.
Because assuming it's an Activision, they have to review everything with a team of 5,500 people and give you some great notes about what you should be taking. No,
we love Activision.
We love Activision. The Call of Duty team that's been on this podcast, my favorite game, Call of Duty Mobile. Everybody knows that.
Amazing.
Well documented. But, just let's have fun. Anyway, so they have all their feedback. They're a corporation. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of coordination. And is that kind of like the bottleneck that you're having right now, is project managers to run these things?
Yeah, exactly. I think especially for us, like we have a multitude of case studies with different developers and publishers on programs, events, marketing, creator programs, all the above that have worked well for us. It's just now at the point of scaling that up and being able to bring other people, like be able to build our team out wider to where we can work with more groups, and we're just not limited to, hey, this is awesome, we love your guys' game, but we just simply can't like dedicate enough resources to this as far as being able to give you. We might be able to do 1 or 2 of our services that we have right now, but we can't scale this up to like 9 right now, at least for like, let's call it some of these, top 100 grossing games who want to work with us and do these massive brand marketing activations, or maybe it's a game that's popular internationally who's coming to the US and like English speaking markets for the first time, and they're looking to make a major splash. It's really bandwidth and scaling that out. That's the biggest, that's the biggest bottleneck, but that's where a lot of the priority's been at the first half of this year. And I'm super excited about the team we're building.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the projects. What type of projects, no names, but I mean, you can say names, but you don't have to say names. Just say names if you want, off the camera. Anyway, so projects that you absolutely love. I mean, we kind of heard the projects that you love. You love projects that allow your team to be very creative, to have more time where you can integrate with the game team, where you can start early on with giving feedback, being kind of heard as a content creator so you can support them when it finally goes live. Basically a project that Supercell tends to run. So a long-term relationship with a lot of freedom and a lot of working together. Talk to me about projects that suck. Like, what is, if I'm at a big corp X and I'm bringing my mobile game to you and I'm like, hey, Chief Pat, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you what to do. What is just shut up and stream. But tell me what is how not to do a project. Like what leads to worst outcomes?
Yeah, I mean, I think you sort of, number one, being like mega rigid, almost never works. Like people that come in, maybe they've had success, maybe they've even had success launching like a PC and console type title, and they come to mobile. We see now, especially the trend the last 24 months, every major IP is coming to mobile. If you think you can like ham fist the same strategy that worked for PC and console and mobile, and that better than people have been doing it for a long time, and the creators who just naturally know their audiences, that always ends up being a failure in the end. I think one of the worst things is when you're just given sort of unclear directions on the creator side of things. So when you're working with a group and they don't really give you enough guardrails, and you spend all this time producing this amazing spot that you're super excited about, and then it comes back to the group for revision and review, and they're like, hey, well, this isn't really what we want. And then they give you all these different things. Like if you want a creator to hate you, that's like the number one thing to do. Just give unclear directions and then have like 5 revisions come their way. You're not going to get the same investment level from someone if they're not having fun working with you on your project. That's how it goes. I'm sure that goes outside of creators. That just goes to business in general. And I think like the last thing is like working with people who really just like, you want to work with people who generally enjoy your game. If you find people who generally enjoy your game, that's when you're going to have explosive results. Case study is someone like OJ. OJ, who for reference is like the biggest English speaking mobile creator right now, averages somewhere around like 40 million views a month on YouTube, maybe 30. Like he's insane. He's bigger than Ninja and all these other mainstream PC and console creators that as far as like monthly viewership goes. So him and I actually together, we did a campaign for Cookie Run Kingdom when it was launching, and we had a ton of fun with the game. And OJ was addicted. He was sending me messages at 2 a.m. about like, dude, I just like unlocked, butter cookie. And I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, go to bed. And he was so excited and passionate about the game. We ended up parlaying that with him and Dev Sisters into him actually creating a dedicated channel around Cookie Run Kingdom content. And we put together, a brief and these deliverables to where, hey, we're going to sort of install OJ as this creator ambassador for your game, because they didn't really have very much content being created around their game. And people didn't know that being a Cookie Run creator was actually a feasible thing because there was no one to look up to. OJ started this channel, started posting around the game. This channel is doing like 500,000 views per video. It grew bigger than his main channel for a certain point around Cookie Run. He actually ended up being the muscle cookie inside of the game and voicing over the muscle cookie. OJ tells me now that when he's on dating apps, which he's single, by the way, guys, just letting you know on the podcast, he says all the time on dating apps, people are like, hey, all the above. They're like, listen, they reach out and he gets a first message. Are you the cookie run guy? Are you Muscle Cookie?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh my. So that's how successful it's been, that now on Tinder, he has people calling him Muscle Cookie. So just saying, these sorts of programs where someone loves the game. Yeah. When they love the game and they actually like, you give them creative freedom to go outside the box of just like, we want a 60-second ad spot and that's it. Hit these CTAs. Like that turned into one of the most successful mobile game activations ever, because it was something that he loved, he had creative freedom with, and the developers were willing to work with him around that. So finding people who enjoy your game, and it doesn't have to be a perfect fit for the game they're playing on their channel, but if they love it and you can bring them in early and sort of foster that relationship, it goes a long way.
And he started before he had the contract with the developer of Cookie Jam, or when he got the contract. So
we started with an individual sponsored content piece on his main channel and on my main channel. And then from there, weeks have gone by of OJ, talking about Cookie Run. And so we reapproached the developer saying, hey, we got a crazy idea. What do you guys think? Because for OJ, and when it comes to these games, so even if OJ loves Cookie Run, the opportunity cost of him posting it on his channel, and specifically for his audience who might subscribe for a certain game, there's a high opportunity cost. He could piss off his audience. He could ruin his watch time rate. He could do all these things. So for him, even though he loves the game, it doesn't make, from a strategic sense, it doesn't make sense to actually post the game and risk all these things. And that's why, especially for that second channel, spending time hiring editors and designers and developing a content strategy for this game that was unproven on YouTube, no matter how much he loved it, it didn't make sense to make that dive. So Cookie Run being able to establish that relationship and help build that channel and sponsor that channel for him, enabled him to take that jump to where now it's, paid off tenfold. And he's, because of him and how he's been able to grow his channel, we've even seen that other Cookie Run channels have spawned up because now they know it's possible to create content around the game.
And so the way it works is like a single influencer can have multiple channels, and the channels focus on either a specific game or just something else, right? Pokemons.
Right. Yeah, and that's actually an important point when talking about these mobile games. So we have developers who come out to us and they say, hey, you guys, the only thing we want to do with you guys is a dedicated video on your YouTube channel, and that's it. And it's like, okay, well, what's the game? I play Brawl Stars every day on my channel. They're like, this game is a match 3 game. And it's like, okay, well, no one is going to care, and my audience is going to hate me, and no one's going to click it. The views aren't going to be as good because it's not a fit. If it was a game that was a similar fit, or a game with a major IP, Call of Duty Mobile, or a game that was in a similar genre, that has a chance to potentially be a dedicated video on my channel. But this game, it's not a fit for this piece of content. You should be doing more of an integration inside of one of my current videos. So more of a 60 to 90 second spot. Like this is where, you're going to get 15 times the viewership. It's going to be more natural, and it's not going to harm the creator's channel, and it's going to just be more efficient. And a lot of devs listen and, they see the case studies and they realize that, okay, that makes sense. But others, they want to like, nope, we need a dedicated video around it. And then they're sad when it gets 10% as many views as one of their normal uploads. So really you have to be careful depending on your game and the creator, like what type of asset are you actually, what type of content piece are you doing and where is it living? It's always going to vary. And I think number one, like having, number one on your own, Ned, you should be educated and have insights on like where it should be. And number two, like listen to the talent, because a lot of the time, especially for us, not being just like a normal talent agency shop, like we want to have multi-year relationships with these groups. And when we're telling them you should be doing this, it's not because like, we want to like do one campaign and have it end. Like we want to work with you for years to come. So please listen to us, and we're willing to ideate with you. But, the good ones listen and are willing to, hear feedback, and the bad ones say, no, just post this video. And then they get sad when it doesn't do as well as they thought.
So not talking about good or bad ones, but I remember when we were doing a deconstruction of Command & Conquer Rivals. It was a mobile game of Command & Conquers that came on a few years ago. Like this was before Brawl Stars. This was when Clash Royale was the hottest thing, like RTS, the biggest RTS. And I remember like it was actually on your channel where they had like one random video. You were posting only Clash Royale. It's like Clash Royale. And it's like you can see the numbers of the views. It's like, hundreds of thousands. And then there's like one low. It's like Command & Conquer, just sort of like right smack in the middle, getting 10% of what normal videos would get. And then you're back on normal, the Clash Royale numbers. So that was just an example of bad fit. Even though the game was same, but the viewers that watched your videos only wanted to see Clash Royale. They couldn't give a fuck about anything else. Like Clash Royale or go anyway.
Yeah.
And,
or die. No,
or die.
That's a great point. Like and that's our favorite campaigns that we found. Sometimes these one-off spots can work, sometimes they might not work, but like what we found is tying things together into something more broadly. So maybe you do a sponsored piece of content, and maybe the game is a better fit for an integration. Not only would like me as a creator, maybe I spend the first 45 seconds talking about the game, like what I like about the game, promoting the game. And maybe the last 45 seconds I'm talking about, hey, not only like am I having fun playing this game, but by the way, I'm going to be participating in an event on this game's owned and operated channel, which you guys can tune into. And it tells a broader story that goes longer than one ad spot. It goes into, this can turn into something that goes over the days and weeks. And I think the last thing that we want to see is something that the game isn't a fit and it's transactional. Here's a check. Do post this game. That's it. And going deeper and making these campaigns more meaningful is like when you just tend to win over the creators as well as their fans. Last one on this part is, what kind of developers are the smallest ones that you work with? Like, because, we've been talking about EA, we've been talking about Activision, any of these companies, Supercell, infinite resources with all of them. What is the sort of a smallest one? I mean, Super Evil Megacorp wasn't big. It was a startup. But kind of like, what are the budgets so that people listening to this would have a comprehension? Like, when can I come in and talk to Tribe? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it definitely depends on who you are and like what your goals and objectives are. So someone like a Call of Duty Mobile and like their goals as far as like brand and community building go are going to be different than someone who are like a smaller developer and like it's all about CPIs and LTV and whatever else, all the jargon that you know better than me. So it's going to be different. I would say like for us, you can definitely get in the door and like start testing with creators, for as little as $1,000 and working and getting feedback on what's working and what's not working. But, broader campaigns, it can range. You can go from a $1,000 campaign to $1 million campaign. It's all about sort of what are your goals and objectives. And for smaller companies, like especially smaller developers, if you guys are looking for just pure revenue numbers and like CPI, then obviously like going through Google and Facebook and just traditional paid media like is I imagine going to be a much higher priority. Although there are some interesting case studies of like using our creators in those pieces do really well, which we could talk more about. But yeah, you can start at a relatively low budget. Just understand that, where sort of like influencer marketing, brand marketing, and like performance marketing, like how these all mix together and what your expectations are. And especially like if you're a smaller studio and your game's like going really well, and maybe you're about to like do something, you've got really healthy numbers and you want to do something bigger and broader that involves creators and more brand related stuff, then we would definitely be like a perfect fit for that. But what we really like doing is, hey, what are your goals? What's going on? We want to win your business for 5 years. So let's test and let's show you guys these things before you overcommit on something that like you inevitably like did not like in the end. So yeah.
Yeah. So you would kind of encourage them when the games are ready to be scaled up, because when we're talking about mobile game marketing budget, we should, at 10M a year is a it starts to be like on the healthy side. So I think at that point it makes sense already to start talking to Tribe and start
100%.
Start adding like a mixed media model to it, like influencers being one of the key parts of the media channels you're using.
Yeah, and I think if you're like a smaller, if you're a smaller studio and maybe you don't have, the like resources to do something along the lines of one of these major campaigns, still definitely talk to us. And like, especially messages, people, when they make like custom messages to us, and it's not just a copy paste on what they send a billion creators, but when they reach out to us, whether to our creators or to Tribe, like something that's like actually more personalized and like, hey, here's what we're doing with the game. Like, we're still early. We want to be able to work with you guys later on. They don't just say like, hey, we're going to give you $10 in in-game currency. Can you do 5 dedicated videos? Those are always the best emails. If you reach out with like a genuine no to a creator or even us, like about like, hey, here are our goals and what we want to do. We found success like revisiting some of those relationships later. Take Lightfox Games and Knight's Edge. And even for us, like we're sort of experimenting with ways that we can work with groups who maybe don't have, who aren't like top 100 grossing games, about doing some broader, finding different ways to work together outside of like what we're doing already. No spoilers, but more coming soon on that.
Yeah. Makes sense. And just kind of like remembering, my wife running with the Super Evil's influencer campaigns. I remember how they fostered that community. Like they, of course, chose smaller influencers that were on the come up, just like Super Evil Megacorp was on the come up, and they, flew them in, kind of invited to be a part of the family. Everybody was testing the game, so kind of created real relationship. And these guys were small, like their numbers were like 1,000 or a few thousand. And as the game grew, they grew with the game and were helping to be a part of that growth story. So there are different growth strategies. Like you don't have to, like it's not Chief Pat or nothing. Like there's definitely those who like you can be on the come up, and Tribe has different types of influencers. So you might be riding with somebody with a slightly smaller numbers, but that's more cost efficient for you, and it makes sense for where you are right now.
Majorly important point. You're exactly right. I think sometimes even people, they get those the big wide eyes when they see different creators' names, or we want to work with the biggest of the biggest. We want to work with PewDiePie. We want to work with Ninja. The reality is that some of your creators right now who are playing your game, these are your lifeblood creators. Just because you do a sponsored campaign with someone, unless it's a fit for their audience for the longer term, they're not going to be the ones who are the future creators for your title unless it reaches a certain point. The creators you already have within your existing community, you need to bring them in. You need to foster them and enable them. Maybe it's sending, a swag pack just to, like, I remember the first time Supercell reached out to me, I used to hide my channel from Supercell because I thought they were going to ban me for using their IP inside of my videos. When that stupid barbarian face appeared in my comment section for the first time, I almost shit myself. And then it said, "Hey, Chief, nice video." And that was the most amazing thing ever, being acknowledged from the dev. They got me that luxurious 2-bedroom hotel room and just built that direct connection and relationship with them. I definitely advise, whether or not you have a budget, if people are creating content around their game, 100% get in touch with them, work to enable them, whether it's cross promotion, whether it's even just sending them like we love to work, and we advise groups like, hey, send a small swag package to some of your core creators who might be recording like I did out of their laundry room dorm or their dorm's laundry room. Send them a mic, send them a swag pack, send them your shirts. They're going to love you forever. Like SEMC now, for me, I'm an SEMC for lifer with Vainglory and now with Catalyst Black, which I'm super excited about. And I would go above and beyond for the game because I cared about it so much. And definitely for developers, like, don't lose sight of your creator who gets 5,000 views per video around your game for someone who gets 200,000 views per video around another game. Like, those are the people that will be playing your game online potentially for the next 10 years. If you think about some of the Clash of Clans creators who are still creating content and having success there. So 100% you should be focusing and working on building those relationships, and it should be priority one, because once the dust settles of this sponsored content, these are going to be the people who are pushing your game forward.
Exactly. Few things before I let you go. IDFA deprecation, big thing on mobile. Really fucking up everybody's lunch with taking away our easiest tool, Facebook marketing campaigns. So that becomes more difficult, mainly in terms of targeting, and especially in mid-core games. Not as much with games with big IPs, but still. How has this shift been seen in your line of business? Is it more business? Is it less business? Is it the same? Has this had any impact in the world of Tribe?
Yeah, I think it definitely has. Like, from conversations we've had, people are like more willing to explore influencer marketing and broader brand marketing now that obviously it's more difficult with IDFA and the changes that have been made. I wouldn't say it's explicitly. We've had people call us and be like, hey, with these changes, we're just going straight to influencer marketing and thinking that we're going to, this is going to replace everything that we're doing. But I think people have gone away from just using some of these like paid media campaigns to where now influencers are more and more part of their strategy. So I think that's one shift we've seen. My dream is that eventually one day YouTube will let us actually sell like direct pre-rolls against our content with our creators, because, we have 100 million plus people per month viewing these videos. And if we could target them with these spots, it would actually be, it would be incredible. Not available yet. Hopefully one day, YouTube, if you're listening to this, please. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's also changed the interest from different developers when it comes to using our talent in UA spots. So whether it's someone like OJ, for example, having him create a 30-second, 15-second spot around their game, whether it's a Kairos, any of these major talents, you now see more and more people are asking us for, hey, actually, we don't even want an integration on your YouTube channel. Can you just make us a custom spot that we can use to run in ads? And that actually, the interest there has grown so big that like that might even be separated as its own business unit at one point for us, because the data has just been compelling for like why these spots featuring creators now are performing even better. And I wish yeah, I wish I had more transparency on the data other than like what's hitting our inbox. But that's something we want to do a lot more with soon. And sounds like that's something that's definitely something that's changed since IDFA.
Yeah, I know Raid Shadow Legends has Ninja in it.
Yes.
They added him. I think they added him as a character, but I just remember the ad where he's being, added to the game, like that type of stuff. You mean?
Oh yeah. And I gotta give not only being added to the game, but yeah, the ads featuring those spots. I need to give Raid a shout out. They actually are amazing. I remember one of our creators, Lex, he made an integration, the 60 to 90 second spot that was going to appear in one of his normal YouTube videos for Raid. I was like, Lex, you've lost your mind. There's no chance that this is going to be approved. I forget what the content was inside of it, but it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. They approved it. They said, let's do it. We love it. They're actually their team. They need to get credit for actually like embracing the meme of Raid Shadow Legends and like letting creators go free with it. So shout out to Plarium.
Oh, Plarium is I mean, their marketing organization is
yes,
well, if not the best in the business, but definitely in like top 5. It's an amazing company and what they've done. I mean, yeah, all their ads, everything. I mean, what can you say about Plarium? They're amazing.
Crazy.
Okay, so. Last one before I let you go, the most triggering topic, blockchain gaming. What's going on with this? There are companies that are dying to get these crypto bros to spend millions on JPEGs, aka NFTs, aka PFPs, for games that are still so far away from launching, just on a whim of a roadmap that may or may not be true. So have you seen blockchain companies using influencers to generate hype for the upcoming drops?
Yes, definitely. But it's way different than what I'm used to. So I'm used to with the developers that we've worked with. They actually like the audience that they want versus some of these like play to earn and like blockchain gaming projects are way different. For, take for example, everything that we've just talked about, like when they want to actually like, the people that we work with right now for like, let's call it like, I don't know, Web2 publishers, developers, like they want actual players who are corely going to play their game and stick around for the long term. It feels like for these projects that are being released, it's not about like actually that they're targeting someone completely different. They're targeting whales and people who want to like financially speculate on these projects and not people that are actually going to play their game and stick around for the long term. So instead of seeing promotions on YouTube and Twitch, for example, where most games go to, these blockchain games are being promoted through Twitter and Discord. And actually they're using like different subsects of creators. They're not even really using gaming creators because their audiences, unless the game is similar to their audiences are so much different. They really want to get those whales and the speculator for the titles. So for us, we've started, first of all, for me, like my personal take is I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on mobile games and digital ownership. If that's a thing, and I could sell my Clash Royale cards to someone else at some point or trade them, but I'm all in. Count me in. I love that. If that's possible within the game's economies to have that ownership, trust me. Forbes wrote an article on me at one point because they read an Reddit AMA that I spent so much money on the game. Like I would love to return some of that at some point when it comes to these titles.
But let's be honest, you also made money off the game.
Oh, so it's a business expense. It's a business expense 10 out of 10 times.
Exactly.
But yeah, so like I'm super into that. But for now, with the current projects and like the state of these projects, it's a lot less about the games. It's a lot more about hype. It's a completely different audience, but I'm sure at some point, especially over the next couple of years, and we've seen, like we talked to some of these devs pretty frequently, and we've seen some amazing projects, some that we've actually even like made investments into that we think in the future are going to be really interesting and impactful games and titles. But for now, like we're sort of standing on the sidelines as far as like, what we do and how we relate to these games, or even our influencers relate to these games. I do think we're in a unique position because a lot of what we do with these like call it Web2 publishers, in theory, should be really similar to what some of these like play to earn and Web3 developers want. They want creators, they want community, they want that even like the creators and community in their games are actually their investors. Like that's going to be even more valuable to them. So in theory, that's like what they should want. And a lot of what we do transfers really well into this area. But for right now, because the games aren't playable and the games, the quality just isn't there and the audiences that they want are so different. We just sort of have to wait until like in my mind, we have to wait until the like, the smoke clears and some of these projects that like are super badass games that happen to be built around NFTs are there.
I can just summarize this. You're not doing blockchain gaming promotion now yet because you have integrity. You've built a business that is sustainable and you don't want to scam people. So, yeah. But in the future, I agree. I'm there with you 100%. Like what we're seeing right now is the first wave, and pretty much everybody with a brain agrees that 99% of this garbage is going to go to zero because it's just speculative. And nobody really cares what the quote unquote game is. They just care about the value going up, and they can sell at some point, and they don't care if the game ever even comes out. And the influencers for them are, as you said, influencers on Discord, influencers on Telegram, influencers in real life. Like OBJ has some kind of an NFT, yes. Or Elon Musk has the new Bored Ape and some stuff like that. So they're looking. Those are kind of like their influencers at the moment. But
if you want gamers, call us. We'll be here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's going to get there, but we're so early, and the amount of investment these companies have raised is just, it's kind of being forced on everybody when it's not ready yet. And, in a few years.
Oh, I've been told, everyone's telling me, like, you need to create a five-page deck with one art model of a character and say you're building a Web3 game at Tribe, and you guys would, it would be insane. But yeah, I think we're waiting to see like the dust settle. There's some projects we do like, but they're still like, in development and, still to be seen exactly like how the game is actually going to be. But when it comes to like current projects that are, saying all these things about how their game is going to end up or what it's going to, I don't know. There's a right and wrong way to do it, and there's a lot of people that are doing it the wrong way. So we don't want to. We want to reduce our involvement until it's a little bit clearer.
And there's a lot of risk as well when it comes to minting these NFTs. Like you might have to pay a transaction fee. You're not going to get the NFT. Like all this kind of a nonsense that you just don't want to be a part of. Like you don't want your two axes being tarnished by this scammy nature of blockchain gaming until it evolves to a point where it's actually sustainable and growing.
Again, bullish on digital ownership. I'm not a developer, so I don't know like exactly how these economies will work. But in theory, I understand. Again,
it's easy.
I can sell my cards.
Super easy.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm bullish in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I understand there's a lot of trash floating around, and we're going to take our time. And once, they're targeting gamers and not people who, just want to buy and flip, then we're all in. Maybe. Awesome. I don't know.
All right, Chief Pat, the floor is yours. Do you want to promote anything regarding Tribe, regarding yourself, anything? Like what do you need? The audience is listening.
Okay. First of all, you guys, if you haven't subscribed already to the Deconstructor of Fun podcast, you need to do that right now. How's that for a plug? Hook it up.
By the way, sponsored by Google.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Good job, Google. So shout out to you. Shout out to your pod. Honestly, like for anyone who just wants to reach out, pat@tribegaming.gg. Shoot an email if you're, no matter who you are, like super interested to hear your take. Always down to chat, whether you're maybe an indie studio or some major company or whoever else. Like, love just meeting people and saying hi, but not, that's it. That's all. Follow me on Twitter, do your thing by all means, but mostly follow Mishka and shoot me an email.
All right. Thank you, Pat. You're the man. It's been amazing to, not amazing. Amazing is a wrong word. It's too American word. It's been inspiring because I haven't followed you closely, just seeing Chief Pat here, Chief Pat there, but now kind of inspiring from the first time I saw you to hearing about the organization that you've built and the mogul that you've become and the mogul that you will be, even bigger one with the silk robe and the parrot on your shoulder and a new set of hair. I'm super excited about the short-term future gains that are going to come your way. So very inspiring stuff. And check out Chief Pat, check out Tribe when you're launching your game, when you're scaling your game. Talk to these guys. They do proper campaigns. They help big games become massive.
So that's what I'm talking about.
On that note,
you're doing my YouTube intros and outros.
Oh yeah. All right. On that note, thank you everybody for listening. Thanks to Patrick Carney. It was a pleasure. Bye-bye, everybody.